All right, so the first thing that I need to write down is when you get whenever you take your test, whenever you get your work folder, before you start answering any questions, you need to write down the following things because these are particular things that are not given to you on your reference sheet, but you will need to remember them when you go throughout the problem. Okay. The first thing is going to be the average rate of change. That means that is the letter M, and that is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, you need to write that down. That's one thing that's you may come across. Okay. Another thing is that you might see some type of questions that I have less than or equal or greater than, right? So if I put the L's up, that's my less than. Okay. So this is this is that is less than. Which means that is also pointing to the left. Okay. Number line is going to the left, where below. Okay. So now if that's the case, then the other thing is the opposite line, right? So this right here means that that's going to be greater than. That is going to the right. So you grab upper or the up part of it. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Let me kind of okay. So there we go. So make sure you have that. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Um. Also, when it comes to these particular ones, if you have an inequality, okay, and let's say you have that one, then you have this inequality like this, right? And you have to put them on a number line, okay? And you don't know if you need to fill it in or leave it open. But think about it this. Let's say this is a person who's eating and they have a dinner plate right below them. So this one has a dinner plate, this one has a dinner plate as well. So these means that you're going to get full. These do not have dinner plates on them, so it means your stomach is empty, right? And when it comes to graphing a line, these do not have lines under them. So it's like it looks like a full line, but then it's dotted lines. Okay? They're dashed. These do have lines under them, so these are full lines. Okay? So this is a number line again. This is the graphing part again. Okay? Number line right here as well. And also with graphing. Okay. So those are the main things you guys need to understand. All right, so let's go and get into at least a problem that we got to do. Okay. All right. Let's look at this first particular problem right here that we have. Let's just, right, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. These are some easy problems that we can work on. Easy problems that we can just do. Okay. So it says that the population of frogs in a marsh can be approximated by f of x equals 0.004 times 2 to the x, where x is the number of decades since the population was first surveyed, and f of x is the population in thousands. They give you a lot of word problems that have all these word extended in it. All you gotta do is paste it to the last sentence, okay? Which statement is best describes the population, okay? So then we got a population right here that models this function. This is an exponential function. So so we need to look for answers that include things about this population growing or decaying exponentially. This right here, this b right here, represents the fact that it is a growing exponential function. So let's see. This first one says the frog population is growing exponentially. That is correct. That'll be our answer. Ready? Cool. Let's look at the next one. Alrighty. Let's look at this question right here. This is another easy type of question. Let me kind of zoom in even. So I didn't know these were. Okay, cool. Let me kind of focus again. Okay, cool. Alrighty. What type of function is this right here? So this type of function right here, we know that we have an exponent here and it has a 2. So that one is going to be a quadratic function. We'll know that for sure. Again, these are level 1 questions that you got to get right if you see them on the EOC. Okay. Let's see. This says which quadratic function is shown in the graph. Okay. So we got a quadratic function. It opens down. So remember, when we have a quadratic function, okay, and it's written in standard form, okay, if it's written in standard form, you know you're going to have ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. The A lets you know if you open up or down, and the C is your y-intercept. Those are the main things you guys need to look for. So I need to look for a number that is negative because this opens down. Okay. So it's either going to be A or D, either A or D. Okay, cool. Those are the ones. So we know we can cancel out B for sure. That we cancel out C for sure as well. Okay. It's either going to be A or D. And in that case, now we just look at the y-intercept, which is C. And those at the y-intercept right here crosses at positive 8. So those are the answers going to be A. Boom, that's it. Okay. All right. This one right here, it is easy. On your reference sheet, you have some things that are simple interest and compound interest. It says Jamal opens a savings account with $1,500 that earns 1.2% simple interest monthly. What kind of function can be modeled, can be used to model the balance of the account X months after Jamal opened it? So this is a simple interest one. And it doesn't say that it's going to be compounded. If it was compounded, it would be an exponential, but simple interest is going to be linear. Simple interest is going to be linear, right? All right, let's continue. Let's look at this question right here, okay? It says, which inequality represents the graph, A, B, or C? Now, let's just hypothetically say we didn't know what this was. Let's say we had to write it out. The first thing we need to understand is that this is a line that's dotted or dashed, okay? So, going back here, if it's a line that's dashed or dotted, we know we got this type of line right here, okay? Now, we need to look at the fact, okay, cool. Is it on top of the line or is it below the line? It is on top of the line, so that it's going to be greater than, okay? So we look to see what is our y-intercept, because this is a straight line. The y-intercept is 2. So if I'm going to have y is greater than mx plus b, my b is going to be, looks like, let's see, 1, 2, like a negative 2. And then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, hit the line again, so it's going to be 3x, okay? And then again, it's all shaded on top, and it's dashed line, so y is greater than that. And that is the answer, so that one would be C. And there we go. Okay, I'll be back for more. All right, so the last time we left off, we were looking at this one particular linear inequality here. And so now we're looking at this right here. Okay. So again, remember, I'm doing all of the easy problems right now, all of the easy ones. Okay. Things that you should be able to get. So this one says, which function has the greatest slope? So we have f(x) equals 3x, x plus 9, 7, and x. Obviously, remember your slope is just the number that's attached to x. So it's only between 3x and x. Remember, this is a 1x here, so the answer is just going to be 3x. Real easy. Okay. Now we have something like this. Now, you're going to have to do a little bit of math here, but this should be easy. So this is 12b to the ninth power divided by 3b to the 1/2. Okay. So remember, you are going to divide the 12 into 3. So that's going to be 4. And then when you have the bases are the same, but the exponents are different and they're on top of each other, you're going to do subtraction. So you're going to do 9 minus 1/2. Okay. Alrighty. Now you can use your small calculator to do that. You can say 9 minus 1 ABC2, and it should give you an answer, and then you might need to change it back to an improper fraction. But I'm going to just do this out right here. I know that 9 is the same thing as saying 18 over 2. So this is like 4b raised to the 18 over 2 minus 1/2, which that should just be 17 over 2. So it should be 4b 17 over 2. And that's my final answer. So my final answer should be 4b raised to the 17 over 2. Okay. Alrighty, let's continue. Let's see what we have over here. We have this right here. You can just plug this particular one into your online scientific calculator and then match it up with these. But let's just say you don't have A, B, C, and D. What we can do, and like let's just say they just want you to write it out or type it out. So what I would do is I would list some perfect squares off to the side. So I would say like 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 2, 3 squared is 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. Now the numbers here is only 2 and 8, so I'm not going to list all of them, all right? Because I already went from 1 to 9. Now out of these right here, I need to reduce one of these down so that I can add them, okay? Square root of 2, I can't do that because the only thing that's less than 2 is 1, and 1 squared is just 1, and that's just not going to do anything at all. I can reduce down this 8 right here. This 8 is the same thing as this 4, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have square root of 2 plus the square root of 4 times 2 because I'm breaking 8 down into 4 times 2. Now, since 2 squared is 4, then the square root of 4 goes back down to 2. So I can take the square root of 4, and that's going to be a 2 on the outside, and I leave this other 2 on the inside. Okay. Now I can just add these numbers together. This is like a 1 here. So 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. So that's my answer. Again, if you're not too keen on that, again, you can just go ahead and rewind the video back and just start from the beginning. But like I said, if they give you multiple choice answers, just type in this into your scientific calculator, write down what the decimal is for that one, and then clear it out, and then type in these answer choices and see which one of these answer choices as a decimal matches up with this operation here as a decimal. All right? Let's keep going. I don't have anything there. Okay, cool. This says, which situation describes exponential decay? Right? So this says the value of a piece of machinery decreases by 19% every year. That is automatically going to be the answer there. Okay. So if I'm decreasing by 19% per year, anytime I'm decreasing by a percent or increasing by a certain percentage, that is an exponential function. So since I'm decreasing by 19% per year, that is exponential decay. Right? Let's see. From here, okay, this is right here. This is really easy to do. All right, Talia throws a ball upward while standing on the platform. The table shows the height of the ball h of t after t seconds. What type of function models the height of the ball over time? Okay, cool. So as you can see, we started at 8, we go up to 62, go to 84, go back down to 74, go back down to 32. And like I said before in my classes, anytime that you have a ball being thrown in the air, gravity has to come right back down. So this is going to be a quadratic. This is another easy one. We have a function here. It says the function y equals 144 minus 3x represents the length in inches of a rope, which is y, after X amount of knots have been tied in it. Which statement accurately interprets the y-intercept? Now remember, this is a linear function, so our y-intercept is always a number that is not attached to x. So I know where you're always used to the slope coming first, but in this case, your y-intercept is first, which is 144. Okay, so the y-intercept is going to be 144. So it's in between A and B. Let me just read it off. The y-intercept is 144, which means that the rope is 144 inches long before the knots are tied in it, and this is correct. Alrighty. And remember again, not just for linear functions, but also for quadratic functions. Um, the y-intercept is always a number that is not directly next to x. Okay, so I'm gonna write this off to the side over here. I'm going to say like y equals mx plus b, the linear function. So remember, the number is not attached to x. That's your y-intercept there. Quadratics, you have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. This c right here is not attached to any x at all. So that's why that's the y-intercept. When it comes to an exponential function, you have y equals a times b to the x. Which letter is not directly next to the x? It is the a. So that in this case, your a is the y-intercept. Okay. Always, always, always remember that. Okay. Let's see. This one says using the graph, we have a of f of x equals 0.5 x squared plus 0.5 x minus 1. Which are the solutions? So it says select all that apply here. Okay, so your solutions, okay, are your x-intercepts. So solutions, x-intercepts, roots, and zeros, they all mean the same thing. Okay, they all mean the same thing. So again, that is zeros, solutions, x-intercepts, and roots. They all mean the same thing. They all mean find the x-intercept. Okay, so my x-intercepts exist here and here. So that's at positive 1 and negative 2. So we're going to have x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 1. Easy breezy. Okay. Alrighty, this one here, you should be able to plug this into your scientific calculator and get an answer. Okay. This is 125 raised to the 5th power, and then that raised to the 1/3, all over 7/3. So I can just do that off to the side real quick. 125. So this right here is the same thing as saying 125 to the 5/3 over 125 to the 7/3. You subtract the exponents, this is going to be 125 to the negative 2/3. Okay. So which is the same as saying 1 over 125 to the positive 2/3. So let's see, the third root of 125 is 5, and squared is going to be 25. So my final answer should be 1 over 25. And again, if you just plug this straight into the scientific calculator, you'll get it. So it should just be that. Okay. And that's it for now. If there's any other questions, I'll do that too as well in the next video.